Route 5 in Chile isn't just another highway. People say it's cursed, a stretch of asphalt that remembers every death that ever touched it. It wasn't the road that unsettled me. I've driven through deserts, mountains, jungles, places where the sky swallows the land whole and silence feels alive. But Route 5, there's something different about it. Something that hums beneath the asphalt, like the road itself is remembering something it wants you to forget. What got me first wasn't the silence, it was the sound. Not the clatter of a passing truck or the growl of a storm, but something dry, something wrong. A dragging sound, stone against stone, like something broken crawling just out of sight. I thought I was alone out there. That's the trick this road plays. But then I saw her, standing at the edge of the highway, backlit by nothing but black. A pale figure, no motion, no face, just waiting. The landscape itself felt complicit, vast and endless, the horizon trembling in the heat like a mirage that didn't want to end. Even the wind seemed to hesitate around her. Somewhere in the distance, a dog barked once and went silent. I gripped the wheel, staring, and for a second, I thought the world had forgotten how to breathe. People talk about her like a campfire story, something to laugh about once you're back home. But she's not a story. She's a wound in the air, a messenger from somewhere we shouldn't be able to reach. And if you drive far enough into the dark, if you're alone long enough, she might decide to find you. While working on a story for Horror Across Borders, I found myself chasing rumors down Chile's Deadliest road. A place locals whisper about, but never name aloud after dark. The first time I heard her story, I was at a dusty gas stop north of La Serena. The fluorescent lights buzzed like flies, and the coffee tasted like burnt metal. A trucker sat across from me, eyes bloodshot, hands trembling around his cup. He said she appeared in his backseat without opening the door. He nearly flipped his rig trying to escape. We laughed, because that's what people do when fear doesn't yet have a shape. But a few days later, another driver mentioned her, and then another. Different towns, same story. Always the same pattern. A lone driver, miles from the nearest town, rolling through the dark spine of Chile. Headlights catch something on the shoulder. A woman. Sometimes she's in a white dress, standing impossibly still. Sometimes a bride, veil fluttering in a wind that isn't there. Sometimes just a shape, barely human, thumb out, arm stiff, like it's stuck that way. And no matter how much your gut tells you to keep driving, you stop. Something makes you stop. She gets in without a sound, sits in the back seat. Sometimes she says a place, quiet, like a memory. Other times, she just stares ahead, unblinking. The silence in the car starts to press in, thick, cold, alive. Every breath feels wrong. Every blink feels too slow. Then, always the same ending. A bridge, a curve, an old graveyard. You glance in the mirror. And she's gone. No door opens, no sound, just gone. And all that's left is the chill. Not empty, but watched. That's the legend of the Route 5 hitchhiker. But to understand what she is, you have to understand the road she haunts. Route 5 isn't just a road, it's a wound. A jagged line carved down the length of Chile, from the cracked bones of the Atacama to the soaked forests of Chiloé. They call it part of the Pan-American Highway, but here is the country's spine. Trade, travel, and memory bound by asphalt. Every few kilometers, you see it. Another twisted guardrail, another scorch mark, another place where someone didn't make it home. This road kills. The long straight stretches lull you into a trance. Fog rolls in without warning. One wrong move and you're part of the pavement now. That's why they call it La Carretera de la Muerte, the highway of death. And then there are the animitas, tiny roadside shrines, little houses built exactly where someone died. At first, I thought they were simple memorials, but when I stopped at one near Copiapó, I understood. Candles burned though no one was around for miles. Inside sat a photo, a pack of cigarettes, and a tiny bottle of pisco. The air was still, but the flame didn't flicker. The word animita comes from anima, soul. The belief is old, older than the highway, older than the Spanish language that named it. It's where Catholic ritual met Mapuche spirituality. When a person dies suddenly, their soul doesn't rise. It lingers, confused, half alive, bound to the place of impact. Truckers say that every animita has a personality. Some bring luck, others demand respect. Many stop to clean the glass, light a candle, or leave a coin before driving on. It isn't superstition, it's insurance. Fail to show respect, and the road might remember your name next. Now imagine this, Route 5 lined with thousands of them, thousands of restless souls, torn from life mid-breath, still clinging to the asphalt. That's the soil this legend grows from, Catholic guilt, indigenous faith, and real tragedy baked into sun-cracked gravel. Every animita marks a life cut short, and some say one spirit refused to stay put. The hitchhiker didn't rest at her shrine. She got up, and now she walks. For years I thought she was just northern folklore, a tale for truck stops and midnight radio. Then I went to Santiago, and I heard her real name for the first time. La Rubia de Kennedy, the blonde of Kennedy Avenue. In 1978, a woman named Marta Infante died in a brutal crash on that road. It made headlines for weeks. A young socialite, beautiful, engaged, gone in an instant. And then the stories began. Taxi drivers on the night shift claimed to see a blonde woman appear in their back seat, pale and silent. No pickup, no voice, just there. One driver said she whispered, "Go straight." Then, as he hit a curve, her voice changed. Soft, terrified. "Please, don't speed. It was a curve like this one. That's where they killed me." He looked in the mirror, gone. Only the scent of funeral violets remained. The city went wild. Talk shows argued. Newspapers ran headlines like, "Ghost Bride Haunts Kennedy Avenue." Late-night hosts mocked her. Radio callers swore they'd seen her. Families forbade night driving, and taxi drivers started carrying rosaries and holy water. For a while, the fear was so real that insurance companies noted a drop in accidents after midnight. In the north, she's La Novia de Azapa, the bride of Azapa, forever trying to reach her wedding. In the south, La Mulanima, a vengeful spirit, twisted by pain, said to appear before your death. The details shift: white dress, blood-stained veil, whisper or stare. But the message never changes. A life ended here. Be careful. You could be next. Even now, some truckers leave a single white flower on their dashboards before long drives. Not for luck, for permission. So who is she really? A roadside ghost? Or something much deeper? She's a mirror. A reflection of the country's buried grief. It's not just about a woman in white. It's about where she appears and why so many see her. I've driven through the Atacama, under a sky bleeding stars, and the silence there feels alive. You go long enough without seeing another car, and your mind starts to slip. You start thinking of the people who didn't make it through the drive. You start feeling like maybe you won't either. The hitchhiker gives that fear a face, a name. She becomes the shape of your dread, but she's not only fear, she's warning. Chile's battled deadly road accidents for decades. Billboards fade. PSAS blur into noise. But her whisper, "Don't speed," cuts straight through. She turns statistics into emotion. She's the ghost of every bad decision, every lost life, every animita flickering by the guardrail. And she connects to something older. The Chilean belief that the tragic dead don't rest easy. They linger, they watch, they want to be remembered. When you pick her up, you become part of that ritual. A driver, a witness, a carrier of the memory. When she vanishes, she leaves something colder than fear. Understanding. She died here. She can't leave. And maybe, if you're not careful, you won't either. She doesn't appear to scare you. She appears to remember you. I don't drive that road at night anymore. Even now, when I think of Route 5, I feel that chill. Not from the air, but from something deeper. Because once you've looked in the mirror and not seen what you know was just there, you don't forget. The Route 5 hitchhiker isn't just haunting the highway, she's haunting the whole country. The silence of the desert, the sudden curve in the dark, the thousands of tiny houses built from grief. She's a story, sure, but also something real. Something stitched into the land with blood and asphalt. Her legend echoes through every region, but her meaning, that's uniquely Chilean. She's not just a ghost, she's memory, trauma, warning, and she's still out there. Sometimes, when I drive another road at night, I catch my reflection in the window and wonder if she sees me too. Because maybe ghosts don't haunt us out of hatred or vengeance. Maybe they stay because they can't bear to be forgotten. And that's what makes her terrifying. Not that she exists, but that we made her. Out of grief, out of guilt, out of the need to explain why the road keeps taking people away. So next time you're driving late, the lights dim, and the road stretches too far without end, look closer. Because if you see her, standing still, waiting, asking for a ride, you'll have to decide. Do you stop? Do you look back? Or do you keep driving? And pray you don't hear the door shut behind you. This has been Horror Across Borders, where fear has no borders. And before you leave, maybe check your back seat. Next Friday, we're leaving Chile's haunted highway behind for Japan's moonlit forests, where a different kind of spirit waits. They say if you see a fox smiling beneath a lantern's glow, it's already too late. If her story gave you chills, hit like and subscribe. We share haunted roads and true legends from every corner of the world. In the comments, tell us, would you stop if you saw her on Route 5? Or does your country have its own woman in white, a ghost that carries the weight of its past? We'd love to hear what haunts your side of the world.